Peace and harmony coming to you today. I would like to begin today's session with looking at how to find your life purpose even after you've suffered a history of child abuse, severe trauma in your family unit, and it's left you feeling somewhat hopeless, depressed, experiencing the negative emotions of shame, guilt, loneliness, toxic relationships, other abuse, substance abuse, self-harm in its many forms, bad relationships, poor inner circles of friends that don't really lift you up but that keep you down and submerged in that cycle of self-abuse. And you're really trying to, I don't want to call it self-abuse, but more just the low energy vibration or the low energy that was perpetuated to you in childhood that caused that sort of trauma, that post-traumatic stress, that complex PTSD where you keep feeling like you're still living out of that purpose that your family unit originally gave you, where maybe you're constantly the scapegoat, you're constantly the one who's doing more than what's required, you're over-obligating yourself to others who have difficulty drawing boundaries. It's difficult for you to say no to people. It's difficult for you to be properly employed, where you're earning enough. You're constantly underemployed, underpaid because of low self-worth or that original purpose that was bestowed to you in childhood. Now, the purpose or the role that was given to us in childhood was merely to satisfy the needs of a toxic parent, an abusive parent, or a narcissistic parent, someone who basically utilized you, used you only to serve their needs, whether it was to give them a sense of power and control, where they could manipulate you, abuse you, shame you, criticize you. These are all forms of manipulation and control designed to keep you under their reins, under their power in a negative sort of fashion, so that essentially you cannot break free and let go and discover your own purpose, your own talents, your own strengths. You are not able to get in touch with these because you are raised in a role or a purpose designed around their needs, which is narcissistic on their point. Many people who have narcissistic parents, meaning they're extremely self-focused, self-interested, and aren't able to guide, raise, or nurture their children, maybe not, they don't treat all their children the same way. Perhaps one was treated as a scapegoat, one was given too much freedom, one was babied. These are all forms of narcissism and maladaptive child raising that goes to serve the parents' needs and not the child's needs. And with that purpose being rooted in the early stages of life, the formative years, it becomes difficult to be in touch with one's own internal sense of locus of control, meaning within oneself versus located outside of oneself. And one's true purpose is to be connected to a higher source, their higher self, and lead a transcendent life where they can go on to not only be autonomous, satisfy their own needs and requirements financially, emotionally, physically, sexually, but that they're then able to go on and lead a generative life of helping others in a productive and positive manner and make their contribution. How to get in touch with your life purpose after you've severed this distress. Number one is registering and making a list of things that truly make you happy. Oftentimes in an abused childhood, we were not able to experience these feelings. We were not able to create these experiences for ourselves. We were put into situations, circumstances that were not in our best interest. And oftentimes we are devoid of our life purpose because we're not in touch with what really makes us happy. So number one is making a list If you can list 5, 10, 20, as many, you can fill up a page, or you can even fill up a book of things that truly make you happy. This will put you in touch with a greater energy source, and it will start to give you a great clue as to your true life purpose. If you are not able to support yourself, you're not in touch with your life purpose. If you're constantly taking care of others and finding yourself drained, fatigued, having illnesses that can't be explained by a doctor, you're having to take medication that isn't really helping, perhaps what you're still in the rut or still the role of living your parents' required needs, their narcissistic needs. In other words, do they need you to be sick? Do they need you to be weakened for some sort of situation? Are you still playing out those needs and requirements that they bestowed onto you? Well, it's time to break free and get in touch with your own emotions and feelings. And you can do that by paying attention and observing to things that truly make you happy. Now, oftentimes, if the formidable years were impacted by child abuse, things we don't know what makes us happy. We are engaged in experiences that maybe are filling the void that was left rather than truly self-supportive or utilizing our strengths and abilities. So if you can take a moment and look at that list of things that make you happy: taking a walk, riding a bike, writing a poem, listening to music, being a shoulder and a friend to others. Things that give you energy and joy. Maybe it's cooking, maybe it's learning new exercises, yoga, traveling, other things that truly interest you, yet we haven't given ourselves the freedom to explore because we're still tied on a leash to that role of the victim that was placed to us in childhood. And once we learn to not only, as I've mentioned in previous videos, identify that that trap was instilled upon us by the abusers or manipulators, and oftentimes are played out in future relationships, we need to break that cycle. If we find that we're constantly still acting out or playing out that role from our original family unit in our career and in our relationships, it's time to break free. It's time to let go. It's time to trust. It's a scary thing, especially if you've never done that before in your life. It's difficult to gain that trust. How to trust yourself when you've failed so many times, when you've been in so many dysfunctional, broken relationships, when you've suffered enough. You've suffered enough, and it's time to surrender and let go and realize that there is a source, there is an intelligence greater than yourself that is seeking to help you and foster that true independence that is your true birthright. So first exercises is making a list of at least 10, 20 things. Get yourself a notebook, get a pen, make it private, strictly to yourself. It's not anything that you need to prove to others. It's not anything that you should even share with others. This is your personal notebook. Go to the dollar store, go to the Target, go to the Walmarts, get yourself a notebook and a pen, and make a list, things that make me happy. Write that on the top, and just begin to write things down. Don't edit yourself. Do not censor yourself. And things that truly make you happy. Things that you were previously maybe made to feel guilty for. Daydreaming, shopping, certain things that were important or of interest to you, but yet you have now distorted within your everyday life because of that connection to child abuse and the need to perhaps rebel. Realize that rebellion in and of itself is not the key to setting you free, although the very goal of rebellion is to set you free. So if looking at the list of things that truly make you happy, they should ultimately help you move into the person and your life purpose that you're meant to be. And as you engage in these intrinsically gratifying things, activities and experiences, these situations, they will give you a clue as to some of your own talents, your own strengths, not what your originally family maybe enacted you to be or manipulated you to be, but what is your true birthright? And that's what we want to get in touch with. So number one is make a list of the things that make you happy and truly support you in a means of energy. And step two is going ahead and completing those at least one a day until you've done each a day for 1 week. And then take an assessment after how you feel after that first week and see if you have indeed a little bit greater sense of your own purpose, your own energy, your own self-development and gratitude. Those are the experiences that we need to start creating in the body and in the mind and in the spirit, and creating new memories so you can begin to draw on those. And it's only with repetition and continual engagement in these activities that you're going to begin to get in touch with those talents. It's difficult to be independent in that respect because we weren't raised or we weren't nurtured in that. But now it is time for you as an adult to go and raise that inner child and nurture that inner child and begin to discover things that truly make you happy. And we're going to begin in this channel to grow from there. And upon those experiences, I want to create a community where maybe you can list 1 or 2 new activities here in this forum. Go ahead and share with it in the comments section. Please do that, and perhaps you'll find support or give support to others who are engaging in new activities. Sometimes it's even just a miraculous Herculean feat to go ahead and walk around the block. Something that is freeing and liberating to you, but yet you have not had the energy to or the motivation to do because of the emotional suffering that you're experiencing. So please make that list and begin to develop and get in touch with your life purpose, because you're going to see that the things that truly make you happy are replete and complete with your talents and your own strengths that are in those activities. For example, cooking. You might truly find liberation and freedom in cooking, creating your own recipes. And you will not only be able to share this with yourself, but with others. And not that it necessarily your life purpose is to only engage in that one behavior, but a couple of different variety of behaviors that will go ahead and generate that independence and better income, things of that nature. We're going to go and explore ways and avenues for you to experience those. So please subscribe, please participate, please go ahead and begin the experience and the journey towards discovering your life purpose after suffering child abuse. There is hope. Love you. Peace and harmony.